It's just something that I knew probably would be hard. For one, just having a child, and trying to date just to begin with. But it's a whole nother monster when you have a child on the spectrum, a child with autism and trying to date. I'm dealing with, if anything, the fact that honestly, no one wants to watch my kid. No one understands. It's not, a kid you could just, shut off and be like, hey, go to bed. You know, he doesn't even, at this time when he's like young and having autism, it's like uh, he's not understanding what anyone is saying. It's almost like a different language. I can just only imagine what the other party is, you know, not only dealing with, just trying to date a woman that has a child, but then like he can't even get to know the child at this point. The child's not going to remember you. You're not going to be able to communicate. And it's like there's no bond going on. Like I'm trying to work on the bond. So it's like if I'm trying to like meet someone, it will just be trouble. Like if I'm just at the store somewhere and someone's trying to talk to me or speak to me, my son is flailing his hands all over the place and he's hitting and he's throwing things, and they're backing away slowly. Like I'm gonna let you deal with that because I don't know what that is happening right there, and I can't shut them off. It. And then oh god, the tantrums, the meltdowns. Um, no one's knocking at my door trying to you know, look after him so I can just have a night, to go meet somebody. For me, it got to a point where I just stopped. I didn't even try to date for a while. It just became just really difficult because I was like, no one's gonna want to date um, me, knowing that one, I have no time because Monday through Friday, my son had uh, OT, physical therapy, a behavioralist coming in, a speech therapist coming in. I had to go to parent training groups, and then going back and forth to school. Like it was hard for me to keep a job because I would have to leave all the time and go up to the school. So me trying to be able to have someone to do it, it was, so I can go out and meet people. It was just difficult. The backstory: I was married to my son's father, and that we have our child, and it was this one, it was really when my son got diagnosed, he was like 2.5 years old. So it was something that his father and I were having difficulty dealing with because we were new parents. I was 21, he was 22. And we both, it took us 4 years to even just have a child. His medical conditions and I had some. And so when we had one, we're like, yay. And to be honest with you, we were just like, and now it's broken, the child. Like we tried this whole time and now we have this issue. Um, that really was just my honest thought. And, you know, a lot of marriages do not work when you have a child with autism. There's this is like a lot of your energy goes into that child, and it was just really hard for me to split to try to be a wife, be Octavia, and really this mother 24/7. Um, I was had to just be everything for my child. So there was no way I can give myself to a marriage or anything. And for a man, I learned that it was really just difficult. It was a shot to the ego to just know that you have a son, your firstborn, and there's things going on with him that he doesn't really understand. We were young again; we didn't realize it. Um, but fast forward, unfortunately, my son's father, he did pass away when my son was 10 years old. And that's a whole nother situation. Post that I'll do on is pretty much how I navigated and explained to my son his father passing away. We were expecting to see him actually within like 2 days. We had just talked to him about coming to see, and then it didn't happen. And I had to break that to a son that really he was 10 years old, and he really honestly started talking and understanding me at like 8 years old. And then I come out with a whammy about your dad's not coming home and here's why. And so again, that's a whole nother post. But going into dating, uh, that was difficult because now I have to introduce this new person to a child that may not even know them, get to know them, have a relationship with them. Because I was told when my son was diagnosed that He will never speak to me. He will never understand me. He will never understand love. He will never be able to, I was told he was mentally retarded, honestly. That was the first diagnosis. And that blew my mind. So, how am I even going to make this happen with someone I'm trying to date, and let alone have any type of romantic relationship when, again, no one is knocking down my door to babysit my child? I just had to realize that it's going to be hard for me to find someone that's really going to understand my situation, that's going to understand that I'm not always going to have a sitter. I won't ever really maybe have a sitter. And honestly, hey, let's date, but I won't have time for you, by the way. I won't have time for you. I'm going to cancel all the time. Um, when we're on the phone talking, there's going to be a lot of yelling going on in the background. There's going to be screaming, hollering. I'm going to be telling you to hold on a whole bunch of the time. There's not really going to be a break. But, when you are a parent, you do lose yourself in your child sometimes. But I literally became my son's, um, when his father passed away, his mother, his father, his sister, his brother, his therapist, his occupational therapist, they had to train me how to do sign language. My son wasn't even talking at that time, so we communicated via sign language. But me trying to date, it was difficult. It got to a point where it's like, okay, do I got to invite people over to my house? Sometimes I would just sit out in the car with the person, so I can watch my home. It got that hard. I really got to a point where I just didn't date. I just didn't date for a long time, and really just maybe search for someone who had children of their own. So you got me. Not only do I got a child, but I got one with a doozy. Um, let's date. It's not a poster. It's not a. I wasn't a poster for like the someone that you wanted to date. Because I honestly, again, I just didn't have time. But someone I eventually did. I was able to date, and it really took some patience on the other party's part to understand what the situation is. And if they really want to get to know me, it's about really understanding, well, when can I make time for them? This is what I have to offer. This is how I can make time for you. It's going to be little things that's going to be happening. We're going to have small times together. And if I can't get a babysitter, boy, you better be available, because it probably took me a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of preparation to make sure my son can just be cool for an hour. My, I remember I tried a childcare with my son, and they would call me all the time because my son wasn't fitting in. He would wander off a lot. They would give him directions. He wasn't able to do those things. And it just became to where it was just too much. They were like losing him because he would go the opposite direction, and he wasn't speaking with the other children. So he got, he got kicked out, is the behaviors wasn't, and we dealt with that in school. But luckily, my dad was super helpful and instrumental with looking after my son. Um, Rest his soul. He didn't matter. It was just like, bring that boy over here. He could sit with me. Ain't nothing wrong with him. He could sit here with me and watch TV. And I would try to like train my dad, because that's the thing. When someone's watching your son, it's like I'm trying to give them a one-on-one to hurry up about, this is what he needs, what he doesn't need, this is how you talk to him, this is how you do sign language with them, use these pictures for this, use these pictures for that. By the way, he's 7 years old, and probably shits in his pants, so be prepared for that. I hope you know how to clean that up. Is it a big thing for you? Hopefully it's not. And if he's sick, that means I can give him NyQuil and Benadryl and he can go to sleep. So I really would have people be like, don't bring him over unless you give him Benadryl. Don't bring him over unless you give him NyQuil. Is he already asleep? Is he sleep? Is he sleepy? Well, don't bring him. And that lasted from friends and family, like for a very, very long time. And people that I've met maybe were like at work. If I was able to keep a job that is long enough, a job that understood that I may be here for 48 minutes and have to leave 4 times in a day. Hope you're okay with that. I eventually had to get on Social Security and become my son's payee rep because it was just hard to keep a job. So uh, I'm living on Social Security and paying for rent. I can't even get my nails done and my hair done and look good for this date, and I'm looking a complete wreck and I'm tired. Um, so it eventually it just really was about me talking a lot on the phone. At whoever had insomnia like me, that's how my dating happened. And if someone wanted to date me and understand, like, these are my business hours, these are my hours that I can be able to talk to you, is when he sleeps. The honest truth is that it was very sad and super depressing, and I felt so alone. It was one of those, like, who's gonna want to be with me, who's going to love me. I did not have friends. I really wasn't able to go out with my friends and do anything because my son, no one wanted to look after him. He was like, people made him feel like he was the plague, honestly. Like, it was just, oh my God, get your kid type of thing. Even by family members. It was really hard to have him out and about. We weren't invited to birthday parties. He couldn't sing in the church choir or go to children's church or anything. There was a lot of things I wasn't able to do with him. We just did stuff on our own. We went to Chuck E. Cheese on Tuesdays when nobody was there. And if somebody wanted to date me, meet me at Chuck E. Cheese. Someone wanted to date me, meet me at the park, and I'll be in this little section. And they'd have to understand, hey, I give them a disclaimer. This is what it's gonna be like. You know, I'm gonna have one eye on you and one eye over here. And I guess I was such a great person that there were some that were like, no, it's good. Let's figure this out. Um, I tried, I did long distance dating because it's easier that way. We don't have to see each other. The phone's the greatest part. Nowadays, online dating is the big thing now. But back then, for me, it was phone dating. Phone dating, we were pen pals. And that's sometimes how I have to do it, in order to meet people. And if you were interested and you understood, then, you was on my team and we were able to do that. Um, I have talked to some individuals that I have dated before, and I asked them to come and talk about the experience, what it was like dating me. I have someone who was with me when during the early ages of my son's life and what that was, those frustrations, and none of them really heard of autism or even understood autism or knew anything about it. Um, so it was something that they have to either choose to learn or leave. And then I have someone where it's like when my son did start talking and did start having language, like building a relationship with them. I had to let anyone know, if you're going to date me, if you're going to be a part of maybe my son's life eventually, it's like when you apply for a job. You need to learn about that company, study that company, read books up on it, and invest. That's something that you really want to do. And that for me lets me know that you're serious, because it's hard for me to try to teach somebody. You're going to have your own experience. But there were individuals that were like, okay, I'm gonna figure this out. And you're going to meet that person that's going to be like, I'm going to figure this out for you. So, yeah, as my son got older, there still were um, things that were hard for him. Boundaries. Boundaries, as in knowing when to knock. You know what I mean? Uh, Knowing when to speak, and when not to speak when you're around. Children and individuals with autism do not have a filter. They will say exactly what's on their mind when it's on their mind, and really can't read the room or social cues. Um, if a guy is doing something, or if he's wearing something, or if he has something, my son will literally be like, why does he have a booger in his nose? You have a booger in your nose. In front of him. Like right there. Just you. You know, and or just the most offlandish things, and he's not trying to be mean or anything. It's just like, I think you should know that that's there. So that's it. With a straight face. And or like when we're on the phone, it's like he's all in my business. If I'm saying something, he'll be like, that wasn't him. Or we didn't go there, or you're not about to go to sleep, mom. It's like, would you tell my business? you know um it was times where it just was like, you gotta excuse him, you gotta excuse him. Let me call you back. Let me call you back. But again, it just took some brilliant individuals to want to learn and want to be a part of my life and realize that we met for a reason, and maybe it was something that they needed to know and experience. And although I'm not with those individuals anymore, we're still cool. I would say anybody I used to date, relationship with, we ain't enemies. Like, I don't really make enemies with them. I really just, honestly, for me, it just be a conversation. Like, this ain't gonna work. This is what it is. This is what it isn't. You feel this way. I feel this way. Does it really even make sense to this? No. Okay, well then let's just, yeah. That literally how it sometimes goes. Um, or they tell me they ain't ready. That's another story too. But I've been married. I got married again. That didn't work out. That was long distance, so that worked out as far as being long distance. But I married someone that had a strong accent, and doing a lot of communications over the phone with my son. Like, he was just trying to get used to the English language, and having to speak to someone that had an strong accent was just it was hard. But their relationship was pretty cool, to a certain extent. But that didn't work out really, just only because that person, it was just long distance. Long distance doesn't work when it's going on for so long. Something that helped me in far as dating for both the person and for my son was preparing both of them for what was about to happen. Preparing my son about what's about to happen. He's factual. So I would say, this person, remember this person, this guy, they look like this, like that, and they drive this type of car. Yeah, okay, so they're going to come here to the home, and you'd be like, why? They're going to come see me for what? They're going to sit with me and talk to me. They're going to talk to you where? Why are they going to talk to you? It was so many questions. But I was transparent, and I was like, and when we're going to be talk, we want to talk privately without you here. So what I'm going to need you, and they're going to be here for about 20 minutes. Can you stay in your room for 20 minutes while we have a conversation? You can set your alarm. And so his focus is, I won't see you for 20 minutes. Cool. And there's going to be somebody here. And I would say, I'm going to have you come out and meet this person, because no one got my address unless I was cool and everything. I can count on one hand how many individuals have my address, was allowed to come to my front door. But my son would know this person's coming in. So if he was to step out or everything, he wouldn't be in his face with the, you have a booger. But I would prepare him, and I would let them know how long this person was staying. This is what we'll be doing. We'll probably be sitting on the couch. We'll be watching a movie, and if you need something, I would just get set up. Here's your food. Here's your juices. Everything's on the counter. Dinner's already made. It's in the microwave. The bathroom is there. You took your shower. A lot of stuff would have to be done ahead of time, so we can really just have that 20 minutes to an hour with just that person. Then and once I understood, like, okay, let me know what does this look like, and it would just be a schedule. It would be a lot of prep just to let my son know what was happening, why it was happening, and when it's going to end. And what I needed him to do. He needed a task list of what I needed him to do. And then it would be a reward in some way. Like, if you do all this, then you can do this. So first, let's do this for me, and then you can do this. And I was like, and I would be really transparent. Mom wants friends. I want to be able to talk to someone. Talk to someone. I want to be able to. I like this person. I like them a lot. Man, I may kiss them. Things like that. But it was something I wanted him to understand, so he knew what was happening. And as far as the individual, I would let them know, like, my son's here. He's going to be around. He's going to be in his room. And he knows all this and everything like that. And, therefore, at this point, they had already understood his condition to a point where it's like, okay, we're aware of what's going on. We could still be able to come here. The house that I lived in had a patio outside, and so maybe I'd set up, like, the lights, or however, we go listen to some music outside, have some wine, or however, have dinner outside, and then I would leave the sliding door open, or the thing, and so I would be able to see my son, and my son knew what was going on. So it wasn't, sometimes every now and he'll come to the door and be like, but if he had a question or something. But chances are, I tried to answer every question I can possibly think that he had. But he also was being nosy. He needed to know that what I said was going to happen is actually happening, and hopefully I answered every question he could possibly think of. And the individual understood that we will have some privacy, but every now and then he's going to be, But what happened is that what happened really is that whoever I was dating, they understood the time that I was putting into us, making us work. And because I appreciate the fact that they wanted to make us work, and whatever that may be. And I was, so, it eventually it worked out, but that goes a lot into dating. It's a lot of prepping and understanding that when you have a person with autism, 10 times out of 10, you're not going to have a babysitter. And if you do, they're going to want a lot of money, and they're going to want your child to be medicated. And lots of time, you probably only have like an hour to make that date work. And it's a trial, but you know, I want you to talk to people. Well, not talk to you. You'll be listening to an interview that I'll be having with individuals that I dated, and they'll have that transparent conversation. I talk to them, transparent conversation about what they dealt with, how it was for them, advice they would give someone who wants to date someone with a child with special needs. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for listening.
Hey, this is Octavia. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe so you can hear so much more about my experiences. Talk to you soon.